Oh, man. What do you mean? অন্য ফোন করে জয়েন করতে দয়া করতে বলতে হবে।
Hello.
Sir, hello. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yes. I'm audible.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay. Hello, sir. I am Shakha Mukherjee, and today I will be having this conversation with you on behalf of IEEE Jadavpur University student branch. Firstly,
Hmm.
a very warm welcome from all of us, and yeah, we cannot thank you enough for like sharing your valuable time with us. Thank you so much. So
Pleasure.
this is this is called Pass the Mic, and this is a series of like a podcast style series where we like invite people, and I'm pleased to tell you like you are the like most high profile person we have ever interviewed on this series so far. And so let's like without wasting further time, let's just get right off start. Okay, for the audience, and this is going to be on YouTube live. We will obviously share the link with you later. For the audience, this is Rajit Bhattacharya, as you guys obviously know at this point. He is the founder and CEO of Data Sutram, which is a modern day science company. Now, the special and nice fact about it is like Rajit sir started this right out of college. I'm right about that. I hope.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So could you just like we are all noobs here, like absolute noobs. Could you just tell us what like what data system does? Like what is this data science company or startup?
Sure. So thanks, Shako. I think is it Shako? How is it
Yeah, Shakko,
pronounced?
right. Yeah.
Shako. Thanks, Shako, for firstly inviting me and those warm words. I think for me, Jadavpur University has always been, a memory, and I always say, I would do anything to get back to my college days. So I usually don't miss the chance to have any interaction when it's at Jadavpur. And my firstly, my thanks to you guys to come on a Friday evening and have a chat. Thanks for hosting this. I think these things are very important in terms of both discussion with industry, and I'll try my best to share. Let's keep it free flowing. Happy to take in questions. Happy to share my thoughts on multiple topics. To give you a background, at Data Sutram, our core thesis is to imagine a world which is more driven by data. I think that's where we started our journey. And funnily enough, we ended up with banking as one of our first segments. So, what we have done is we've tapped into this entire world of alternate data. Now, what is alternate data? Alternate data is fundamentally, I'm on my phone, I'm ordering on Swiggy, I'm ordering on Zomato, I'm online ordering on Amazon, I'm spending on UPI. I'm generating tons and tons of information every day through my daily activities. Now, what we do as a company is we have built products that leverage alternate data and help build solutions. So, very simple. I'll give you two examples of two of our products. Today, if you try to open a bank account with any leading bank in the country, the moment you're trying to open a bank account, whether it's through a digital journey or a physical journey, based on a phone number, we have created a score called Trust Score. So at this trust score of less than 300, we are able to capture fraud applications. Over 300, we are able to segment out premium customers over 700. So this is almost an alternate credit score that has come into the context. But the idea is it's basically an onboarding check. So what happened is post COVID, digital banking came in, banking changed, digital public infrastructure was brought in, KYC came in, but KYC also had loops. We saw people actually going ahead and misusing PAN, Aadhaar, and being able to fraud the system. So what did we say? We said when a phone number and a PAN or a name is trying to open a bank account, at that moment, based on a phone number and PAN in 500 milliseconds time, we will bring out the entire report of a person. How much they spend, where, are they a genuine customer? Is there any fraud reporting anywhere in the world against them? Their digital history, their social history. And based on all of it, we are able to create a final score which says yes 300 plus, no 300 minus. And that's one of the applications we have built. The other application we built is in customer acquisition. So all of us are in banking today. We all have bank accounts, right? But the challenge is how many times are we happy with our banking, or how many times are we happy with even a Flipkart e-commerce experience, right? So enterprises are not able to understand customer behavior very much based on their internal data. They need intelligence on the external world. uh, you know, Imagine all of us went and bought an iPhone on Flipkart. Right now, what Flipkart knows about us is we have got an iPhone, but all of us come from different background, different social capacity, different economic capacity. Now, how does Flipkart as an organization or any Amazon as an organization fine tune their experience for a customer based on intelligence? So we have a hyper personalization product, which is, focused on being able to, help enterprises understand the customer better and hence provide better quality of service. So these are just couple of applications, but we have a host of products. Our entire idea is that if you look at India as a market right now, enterprises, we are a B2B company, which is an enterprise tech company. So we focus on helping enterprises, largely banks, e-commerce, consumer product companies, be able to deliver better quality service through intelligence and actionable insights. So that's in a very nutshell what we do.
So to summarize for our audience, can I say like, firstly, you detect fraud and you like enable banks to have like legit customers, like so that this fraud and everything goes down. And number two, like we have all heard, like companies like to segment India in three parts: India one, India two, and India three. You like to reduce the CAC for like for customer acquisition cost for companies to like reach out to them and give them a, like a unique experience.
I would say I will increase the CLTV further. So CAC is acquisition. I will say cross lifetime value. So I will increase the CLTV of a customer for an enterprise, where I will enable the enterprise to understand the customer better. So if Shakko is already a customer, I will also help the enterprise understand Shakko so well that they can maximize the revenue out of Shakko by delivering better quality service. So it's just not CAC, it's CLTV also.
That's really wonderful. That's right. That's like a step ahead. Okay, so like catching on to that B2B part, since you studied this in college, like all of these things like B2B, B2C, these are not things that a normal college student goes by. Like when we go to Jadavpur University, we are at Ahar or some village, we don't talk about starting a company or we don't talk about like B2B or stuff like that. So how did this idea came into your mind like in your college days? Like let's build something out of data science. Because this thing was just booming in the pre-COVID times. And how did it all started? Just let us tell us the story.
So see, I'll go back to some basic principles that I followed, as an individual, and what where Jadavpur also inspired me. I think the best thing that Jadavpur did to me was not impose a attendance restriction. I think that gave us. I mean, me, Ankit, Oishik, all three of us, we started this company. We are co-founders. Oishik's my classmate from electronics. Ankit was in chemical. We are all batchmates in engineering in Jadavpur. So, we spent 95% of our time in Milonda. In fact, I filed uh, my company ROC from Monida canteen. So I think so Milonda, Monida, Shuruchi, I remember the places where we used to worldview, where we used to spend 95% of our time. And thank God we did, because I think that is where every innovation and every creation came about. Right? Sitting in classrooms, nothing was going to happen. And I think, I don't even, recall spending in my in my 4 years of college. So I think the value and the idea, and it's nothing to do with the education or the teachers, right? I mean, we have amazing professors. That's not the point. I think what I'm trying to get at is, I think what I gained from my university was the freedom to imagine, was the freedom to be brave, and I think that was very important. I keep saying this: if I knew what this founder life is, maybe I would not have been able to be one. The fact is that I did not know. I did not know what road I was going to travel, and that's what I think is the reason I was able to, even start in the first place. So I never sat for placements. Three of us never sat for placements. We directly went in, and we started something. We imagined we took that risk, because at the back end we knew that, okay, what will happen worst? I know, and this is what I keep telling people. I have a lot of people in my own team from Jadavpur, and I see, and I keep hiring people, and I keep talking to people, and I keep seeing this sense of tension and pressure in people that 4 साल होने वाला है, 3 साल, third year होने वाला है, fourth year होने वाला है, placement क्या करूं? Yeah, it doesn't matter. The beauty of it is that, at the age of 20 to 22 or 23 or 24, before 25, the passion and the energy you have, you will never have it again. And this is the time to change the world. So B2B, GTM, TAM, SAM, I can go about telling thousands of terminologies.
which honestly I did not know when I started. I didn't even know what how banking works. I didn't even know how lending works. Today, my company works with some of the topmost banks in the world, and the only reason is because it really you can't learn entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a journey. It's an attitude. It's an attitude to solve a problem. It's an attitude to understand, empathize with a problem and solve it. I think what engineering tech teaches you is problem solving, and that's a very vital um, skill to have. And what Jadavpur teaches you is freedom to think. It's the entire question the authority, or the ability to question the establishment. And I think that, taken in the right spirit, can actually fuel your dreams and your ambitions. So I think the idea and what was different between me or any of my batchmates out there, and we are very good friends even today with most of my batchmates from Jadavpur are very close friends. They are doing some excellent stuff. Some are doing their PhD, some of them are doing a job. It's all of our individual choices, right? That we took this journey. So the idea is, if someone wants to become an entrepreneur, the reason is, why do they want to become an entrepreneur? Do they want to become an entrepreneur for fame and glory and money? Then probably not. That's not the way to look at it. The reason to become an entrepreneur should be to able to solve a problem and to make an impact. And if you are on that journey, then your freedom to think and your freedom to believe is what's important. And that's what was our core. When we spent the first 2 years when my batchmates and my peers were earning way more than I was, because I was starting my own business. So that FOMO was not there for us, that ये इसका इतना CTC है, मेरा क्या है. All that thought process was not there. We said this is a problem we want to solve, and that's our focus. And when you solve the problem and your value is established, money follows. So I think the core behind that, and I'll come back to your question, I think the crux of it is, you know the fact that I did not know was helpful. If I knew everything, I would probably not do this. So I think that's the beauty of it, and it's a journey. So you have to look at it like that.
That is very, very beautifully phrased. I cannot emphasize how much it like resonates with all of us as JU. Like with our day-to-day lives, we are entering our third years. I am personally entering my third year. There are a few seniors here who are in their fourth year. People are worried about a lot of things. We spend our time doing a lot of things you said, like you did. And yeah, I also resonate with the fact that like Yadapur gives you that chance to be who you are. And for that, every individual should be able to accept that and make their own path. So going right into it, like you said, like you did not know what it entailed and what it like took, and you probably wouldn't have done it if you knew. So going a bit further along, I was going to your LinkedIn just before this interview to like pick up some small background information, and I saw like even though you did not know what the journey was going to be, Data Sutram got its first VC funding as early as July 2020, in middle of a like biggest global pandemic, like most of us
December
will know in our
2019.
lifetime. December
December.
2019. That's even earlier. That's even earlier. So how did that happen? From not knowing anything to that.
See, again, we have to understand what is VC funding in the first place. I think, the unfortunate part is that we don't know. I also did not know, right? My VC funding story was very interesting, where I did not know what VC is. So me and Oishik, we were sitting in my house, and uh, we were trying to set up our own business. We used to make some websites on the side to keep our income floating while we started working on our core product. And we said, ऐसे नहीं होने वाला है, पैसा लगेगा. So we said we need money, right? And we literally opened up a Google search and we said VC. And at that time, there was this particular fund who had opened up, and they were advertising that I'm going to launch my first class one. I literally shot them a cold email, and that venture fund, that venture capitalist, I didn't even know his name was Sanjay Mehta. I didn't even know him. He's a very famous VC. He's the first investor to Oyo and Wowmo and all of this. He's got 6 unicorns in his belt, but I didn't know him, right? Because who knows the angel investors when we are in
Yeah.
college, right? I shot him a mail, and even he has his on his LinkedIn post about my journey. And I shot him a mail, and he said, come to Bombay. And we honestly had 44,000 bucks in our accounts from different projects we were doing, and those flights were 26,000, 13,000 each, because there was some calculated to Bombay. One day we had to fly, and we didn't even know how we were going to book back our return journey, right? But both of us went. We were like, kya hoga? Let's see. We had never seen those many zeros in our lives. We were pitching for a 25 lakh investment when I first started, right? I'd never seen that amount of capital in my life. So when we were pitching to the investor, it was a 10-minute pitch and he funded us. Now, in a 10-minute pitch, he funded us. Why? Because A, did we have a product? No. Did we have a solid idea? Maybe some sense of idea, but I mean, ideas are not bulletproof, unfortunately. So what is it? Right? So the crux, when I go back and I understand, and now that I also see people, I've gone through that journey, I understand. The investment was into people. The bet he took back then, my first angel investor in 2019 December, the bet he took was to invest into two people who had taken that courage and plunge to jump in, and who dreamt and was brave to say that I will do what it takes. Now that's what's important. So VC funding, again, people don't invest into businesses and ideas. People invest into people. It's a relation. And I think that's not what's taught in our education system. People skills, individualism, people, everything is people. So what again is very important back then is a first funding is about one person having that conviction. And you need to have, so our first investment happened. Our second investment happened, as you said, July 2020. Till now, we have raised 6 rounds of funding. And I'm telling you, each round of funding had its own challenges. And it's not like we got funding in our first go. We had moments of rejections. We had over 30 rejections to get one investment in. So it has to be that grit to keep at it, even though the other side will say, "Ye possible nahi hai." Right? So I think it's important. 2019 December, if you remember, the startup ecosystem was also not established back then. So the point is again that money goes to people who dream, and angel investment or venture capital, which is your first seed investment, is about dreaming about a very large market and saying how big can this become. Because now think of it like an investor. What an investor does is they put money in 20 people. They don't need 20 people to survive. Trust me. They will make their return out of 2 people. That's the power law, which all industries follow, venture capitalists follow. You invest in 20, you get 2 returns. And that 2 returns are going to make 100x. So the idea is they don't invest in, at an earliest stage, they don't invest in ideas or products. They invest in people. So I think what's important is to be, again, true to who you are, and is to discover what you want to do, and is to prove that you can be at it, because the journey of entrepreneurship is extremely one that of a struggle. My struggles have not changed in the last 4.5, 5 years. The struggles are just different. They're different in nature. So I think the idea again of funding, I think, can be more clearly defined. And I think what it takes is grit, ambition, and thought process. And there is a method to this madness. So I think with proper thought process, and there's a lot of venture capital right now in the country. There's millions and billions of dollars waiting to be poured in. So there is a very big market. There is a very big scope for entrepreneurship and funding and seed funding. And I think the emphasis has to be on people and not products. And that's what we fail to understand when we are at an early stage.
That is very, very inspiring. I know a lot of friends that I have, like even myself personally, like many people think about like just starting their own thing. And most often it's like driven entirely by passion to create something new or to just have a journey of their own. It's incredible to know that people actually take a bet on like people. And it's just not what we see on Shark Tank where someone says like you're taking a bet on you, not the company. Very assuring to know it's real world. And yeah, like coming from JU, like both of us, we can both relate to that thing, like having your own ideas and taking a leap of faith. Moving a bit forward to your startup journey, you got your funding in like December 2019. Everything is going well, and on comes 2020, on comes the pandemic, everything shuts off. And the next thing you know, the world is in recession. Like we were still school kids then, we just know like Kalke school nahi or something like that. Like everything is shut down. How did you handle like such a young startup? How did you handle that like wave of recession during the period? And how did you get clients and everything?
See, when you have nothing, you don't have anything to lose. That's the beauty. So when we were 2020 March, we were 3 months old. As a startup, we had just gotten our first pre-seed funding, and we didn't really have a product. So when you have nothing, we didn't have customers. So when you have nothing, you have nothing to lose, as I say. So I think, unfortunately, I know COVID had a lot of negatives. A lot of people lost their lives. It was a disaster. But unfortunately, or fortunately for the tech world, it was a boom. And the reason behind that boom was very simple. Suddenly, the establishment ego on how the world works changed. You suddenly had very senior leaderships at very senior levels, suddenly clueless about how to run, because I think the time just got reset. So I feel it was a moment of opportunity. It was not a moment of negative. For established industries also, the people who innovated went up. Everyone, if you follow the public markets, you know what happened in the stock market. uh, Anyone who invested before public market almost made 100x returns. So the idea was that, if you think about it, COVID or any kind of such event that happens, if things will happen in the future, there's wars, there's everything presents an opportunity and a negative side. Both the sides happen, right? As much as the negative side is harmful and effective, when we have to take care of it, the opportunity is also there, and we have to see that. So what happened in COVID was largely, the suddenly, very simple example, right? Credit score was predominant in terms of lending. So CIBIL score was being used for lending. Now, post COVID, that score was no longer holding in terms of who is eligible for loan, because it was based on historic data. Now, after COVID, things were changing. Businesses were changing. The type of businesses changed. Digital banking came into the existence, right? Stores were suddenly not open. People said, okay, how can I sell online, right? So what happened was, again, the world was changing, and what we also did is we started being observant. As entrepreneurs, as founders, the only thing you can do is to closely monitor a problem and really try to solve it. So we kept looking at it, kept identifying problem sets. We went slow. We took 1 year. We slowly built our product. We spoke to people. Suddenly, people were available on Google Meets and Zooms, which was not the case before. I was talking to a leadership in a MNC or a bank, and I had their time just by cold reaching out to them on LinkedIn. And there was a world of possibility and an imaginary world that came up that suddenly opened up sparks in your life. So I think the crux is in being at it, and constantly being at it, no matter what's happening, because something positive is going to come out at the end.
That is incredible. Like, yeah, COVID for like people like on our end too, it was like something of a life-changing parameter. We suddenly cannot go out of our house, classes are online and stuff like that. And as students, we also saw like many very big companies taking place, An Academy, PW, everything just came right out of the back. And like moving on from the darker side of like entrepreneurship, and you said you won't ever do it if you know what it took. Going to a more positive approach, like how does it feel to be on the list of Asia's Forbes 30 under 30? How does that feel like as an achievement?
See,
And
I
all these
think,
struggles when it finally pays off.
see, I think I will, I know, you know, if I was in your place, and, I would say that it's easier said than done. But I really believe that you should not chase these things in life. Um, Forbes 30 under 30 is not, in my opinion, an achievement. The achievement is being able to build a sustainable business. The achievement is being able to generate employment. The achievement is being able to inspire people to start their own companies. The achievement is being able to solve an actual problem for some of these banks. So I would say, if I had to look back my journey, Forbes 30 under 30 would not be in my top 20 achievement list. And the reason behind that is, uh, see, Forbes 30 under 30, or all of these, things follow you. If you are able to solve a problem, raise sustainable capital, be able to be at it, the people will, the fame and everything and the awards will follow you. So I think I am honored by the recognition. For me, to be very frank, when I was 9 to 10 years old, I wanted to be Forbes 30 under 30. So obviously, when I was that, I remember I was flying back from some place, and I landed in, I was in Bombay then. I landed in Bombay, I opened my phone, and I first got that email. And That moment was amazing. There's nothing to take away from it. That moment was a glory. But again, if I do look back now, I would say that doesn't have a delta contribution to your life. It's obviously a moment of celebration. It's important to celebrate wins in life. Yes, that was a win. Yes. I would treat it as a win and not an achievement. There's a difference. So, for me, I think the perspective should be at it, do what you do best, solve things, do well. Achievements will follow. And I have seen this. Uh, I think if you're putting in the right effort and hard work and time, and if you're making sacrifices, results follow. So that's not a challenge. But again, to everyone, I think the if I had to tell myself something uh 10 years back, I would say don't chase Forbes 30 under 30, chase becoming a successful entrepreneur, rest will follow.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is some advice that like a lot of young entrepreneurs will like be helped from, because yeah, like whatever we say to ourselves, money is a very very important motivational factor for many people. Like should be or shouldn't be depends on person to person, but it is for many people. Moving on from that, like you said, like
So one
it,
one point I'll tell you,
yeah,
money should be a motivation. Let me
yeah,
not take away that. Okay, money can and should be a motivation. In fact, I don't know why we are taught. I come from a Bengali household as well. I understand, there are challenges and discussions on it, but I think it's absolutely okay to have money as a motivation. I'm not questioning that. I'm saying if you do what you do best, that will follow. So that's my thesis.
yeah, money is something comes on its own when you like create the value yourself. That is the main challenging part.
If you create value, people will pay you. People will value you. People will fund you. Things will happen.
Yeah, that's the magic of the thing. Now moving on back to just one thing you said, like again, if you knew what it entails, you wouldn't have done it. What were like top three things that are the most challenging for you in your personal journey as a founder that would have, if you have known, might have led you to not pursue it at all, despite it being such a fulfilling career? Like you're saying both of the things, right? You're saying like it's great to have like a product, money follow you, create all this value, right? But you also said like if you had known it, you wouldn't have done it. That's kind of paradoxical. So let's break that down a bit for our audience.
Sure, sure. So I'll try to phrase myself in context of what you said, right? See, entrepreneurship is an addiction. Right now, I'm an addiction. I'm addicted to entrepreneurship. Right. So right now, I would say that even if I had to do this again, I will do this again. But I'll tell you the challenges behind it, right? And when I say that, if I knew everything on day one, I wouldn't have been able to start. Um, what I mean is that there are going to be every step you're not going to know a thing. I'll give you an example. There is no see what happens is that still we at the time we are in college and university, we are taught what to do. In school, we are given textbooks, we are asked to answer questions. In college, we are given textbooks, we are asked to answer questions. uh, the maximum thing that we do out of is probably a bit of maths and physics questions when the teacher set some tough questions, and we have to think a bit out of the box. But when life starts as an entrepreneur, at every point you have to think out of the box. When you're starting when you're raising your capital, let's say there are five people here who want to start their company, right? There is no method to raising capital. There is no formula. There is no book. There is no definition. Second, after raising capital, when you build a team, how do you hire? How do you, third, when you sell to someone, how do you sell? How do you get revenue? Fourth, how do you maintain a P&L? How do you file tax? How do you keep your compliance in place? How do you file for FEMA when you get foreign funding? How do you look at, what happens when a bank customer calls you up on a Saturday night and says, this is the problem, what to do? So the challenges are enormous. I feel like the last 5 years I have been an ICU doctor, where I have handled ICU being my own company and I being the doctor handling emergency after emergency. My office hours are handling crisis. So if you are signing up to be an entrepreneur, you're signing up to be an ICU doctor for the next 5 years. Forget peace of mind, forget weekends, forget stuff when you're establishing yourself. all of things will follow once you're there, once you've matured it. Obviously, my life, work life balance, everything has come into place since my time at the company is matured. But in the first starting years, there's nothing like work life balance. You cannot, and you will have. Secondly, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. Success is never certain. Success is never certain, and that's the beauty about it. So even if you get everything right, there is no guarantee that what you think is success is going to happen. It might come in some other shape and form. So uncertainty. So throughout our school life and college life, we are never taught how to deal with uncertainty. And when you're an entrepreneur, every second you're dealing with uncertainty. So if I knew that, if I was starting up when I was 22 or 21, and I knew for the next 7 years I'm going to deal with uncertainty every hour, I would probably not have that courage. Right now, I've become an addict to uncertainty, and I'm a addict to entrepreneurship, and I will probably say I will do it again. But it's the beauty of it. So I think the challenge is that we are not taught how to deal with uncertainty, and that's our challenge with our education. And I think that's the biggest thing. When you know your friend has a 9 to 5 job, is going to get your salary at the end of the month, has a good life in Bangalore with a flat out there, and is working in an MNC, which is never going to go down. And you are running a business where you are today at 1/10 of their CTC. But you can become 10 times in 5 years if you do it right. But there's no certainty. So it's that risk. It's that appetite to risk. You will have your family pressure of telling you that, your parents telling you that, his or her son has gotten this job. What are you doing for the next 2 years? All of this is going to happen. Your friends are going to be able to go and spend on things you will not be able to do for the first 2 years when you are doing an entrepreneur. So there are sacrifices, there are risks. It's not an easy journey. People think it's all the glamour. It's not. But the beauty lies in that struggle. The beauty lies in that challenge, because once you're through it, once you have learned in your life how to deal with uncertainty, your growth trajectory is exponential. And that is the beauty.
So, like for our audience, can I put it as like this is like the biggest bet a person can take on themselves and obviously their teams and co-founders. But if the bet pays off, the returns are also like something you could have never imagined. Like to put it simply in one word. Okay, so a bit more on data Sutram. Like you cracked like banking, CAC, and like extending customer lifetime value, all of that. What is the next big thing you are planning for data Sutram? Like, what is the next step now that the company is sort of stable? You said you have a sort of work-life balance. How? What is the next area of growth you are thinking about? Because growth is continuous, right? You are like you said, you're addicted to it. You can't just stop at a point.
See, as a founder, 3x revenue growth is always our target. Our aspiration is to build a company for the world. My next, today I'm working with some of the top banks in the country. My aspiration tomorrow is to work with some of the top banks in the world. The idea is, the idea is limitless, right? Today we are at a point we've established ourselves as a company which adds value. We build products. Uh, we are still not a revolution. The aspiration is to be a revolution. The aspiration is to change the way people think about data. Um, you know, when Steve Jobs launched Apple, there was this one feature which he had held on to when the Apple launch was happening. The feature had a very simple example. When the computer machine was starting, it would light up and say hello in a human voice. Now, this feature was not working, and he was holding back a launch. So his product guy came and said, this is a small feature. Everything is running. The voice is not just happening. Why are you not, stopping the launch? Why are you stopping the launch? You can just let go of it. He said one thing which stuck with me. He said, you know, um, machines are considered to be very scary to people, to humans. That human voice is going to add a relatability factor. And and today we are in the world of personal computer, laptops, machines, everything, right? So it's a revolution. In my world today, I think data is still scary to people. All of us are generating so much information every day, but we are not monetizing it. I'm today helping enterprises monetize your information, but you can also get quite better quality of service. So I think the idea for us as a company is to revolutionize the entire data space, where we tomorrow are able to genuinely create hyper personalization. People talk about you know, analytics, recommendation. I don't believe in all of this. I think business value is main, and analytics is second. It's a natural consequence to business value. I think the day you would be going into shopping, ordering online, you know, opening a bank account or having banking services or even borrowing loans, or every part of your life, you should feel that, oh yeah, this is a good service, this experience is nice, and in the back end is all your models. So my objective or my goal is to imagine a world where human experience is absolutely personalized, and on the core, on the back of it is data. And that's where we have actually been able to make data the new oil. All of this is right now jargons. The reality is what my goal is, and obviously the aspiration is international, so the idea is limitless.
Yeah, that's a very nice line that I would personally always remember. Ideas is limitless. Another thing you said before, ideas are also not bulletproof, so you have to take care of them as well. Like talking upon that, apart from banks, are you going to look at any other like businesses or sectors as your clients in future? Like there are
We
many other
work,
services, especially the tech giants.
so we
Like there are
work with
Meta.
we
Yeah,
work with consumer product companies. We work with you know, FMCG companies. The largest FMCG companies are client. We work with you know, companies in the oil and gas space. But again, the core, as you know, the core is right now banking, but the idea is to diversify over time. uh, the We might not ever, you know, work with Meta, because I think or a Google for that example, because I think uh, we are enabling enterprises which are more in the in the domain of, you know, services to people, where it's, I'm talking about banking, I'm talking about consumer products. So the crux will be there. So my clients are always going to be people like consumer product companies, banks, FMCGs, education. All of this will be there. I don't see, you know, I mean, you don't know, I mean, again, the idea is
never say
limitless.
never,
So
never say
I
never.
think it's difficult to say whether we are going to work with them, but we work with brands like Amazon, we work with brands like, so all of that is there.
Yeah, but that's not what I was originally going to say about Meta. I was going to say like Meta is developing their own like this whole pipeline of thing with data. Apple is launching Apple Intelligence or whatever. OpenAI is so big. Like there are a lot of startups right now going all in like data. And AI is a huge buzzword. Like it's the largest buzzword in the market. So yeah, could you like possibly think like these companies can like at some point try to even take control of these sectors also? Like they can step down to what you. That's what I was asking. Because that would be perceived somewhat of a threat in the business, right? But obviously, because of their branding, their powerhouse, their money, like most importantly. That's
See, companies like Meta, Google, see, AI is like, right now talking about AI is like talking about computers. Like it's like it's a
the most
theme,
common thing
right?
ever.
Yeah. So I will come down to what we do. We are a B2B focused company, right? We are, even in B2B, we are large enterprise focused company, right? Today the brands you're talking about are more consumer centric or SME centric. If you look
Yeah,
at Google or Meta's revenue, they're 90% revenues from ad, and the
definitely.
ad is for targeting their own customer bases. So they're in a very different business. And one thing that we have learned is business code doesn't change. So I don't look at them as competition.
Okay. That's very, very nice. That's very good to know. Like taking this forward, like one more thing, what would be your like some words of advice or gyan for students who are in this right now in Jadavpur, in Milandas, in Monida, in Chiluchi, trying to think about like what I learned from this conversation is like you were not very sure at the beginning what exactly you are going to. The student in 2019, 2018 didn't know he was going to partner B2B with brands or something like that, banks or something like that. He just knew he saw a problem, he saw data could be utilized, and he went all in for it because that's what he liked. There are many of us, including myself right now, like with this AI and everything going on, with this Web3 and many, many technologies are just exploding right now while we are in college. And most of us honestly don't know what we want. Like, there's obviously there's the job angle, the family angle. There's obviously the angle within yourself. I will do something bigger in life, and that art of not knowing, as you say, like what exactly do we want to be, what exactly do we want to cater to. That's something a bit more advanced into the journey. Like how to. encourage them, or how to like give some advice for them to people to like just take the leap of faith like you did? Not like monetary returns or like something guaranteed, but take that leap of faith into this world of uncertainty and just like trudge along the road not taken.
So I think my words of thoughts, I would, my thoughts rather than words, are that at when you're in college, you are at a time where you have nothing to lose. And as I said, if you have nothing, you have nothing to lose. So you're like the most. Why do you think that college students are so powerful worldwide? Uh, it's because they really, and why education is so important is that educational institutions are so important rather than education, is that they are the forum for innovation and thought process. So right now, anyone who's in their third year or fourth year or second year or first year has nothing to take care of. Honestly, you only have yourself to take care of. uh, yes, the moment you step out, you'll have X, A, B, C, D, E, F, G things to take care of. You'll have expectations from your people, right? Even if you have family burdens or family just to take care of, that is also possible with a stability. But I think the biggest challenge for most of us in college is to deal with peer pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel like peer pressure is taken too seriously. I don't think any of us go for jobs because we love those companies. Any of us
Absolutely.
go for jobs because we love those things are. Maybe 0.1%, yes. But most people go for it because baju wala wahi kar raha hai. The someone beside me is doing it, that's why I'm doing it. Trust me, one thing if I've learned in these 10 years of being out there in the market, talking to people, understanding, and I've had the opportunity in my career to talk to some of the top CXOs in the country and learn from them. If I learned one thing which is consistent across everyone, is people really value a differentiating factor, a USP, bravery, um, common, or something which is, even when I look at candidates when I'm hiring, I don't like looking at the same CV of Coursera and ABC things and some ABC jobs. See, my perspective is that all of that is well respected and all of that is good. But right now is the time to imagine. So you don't have to become entrepreneurs. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to. If you want to do a PhD, do that. I know I had friends who didn't sit for placement and went for PhDs. If you want to pursue something, if you really want to do your higher studies, do it. If you want to be entrepreneurs, be it. The idea is, first, don't kill your imagination to dream because of peer pressure. I think that is going to be my only thought out here, because I think that's what people really lose out on. So
Yeah.
imagination to dream, and don't think that I can't do it. You have to believe that you can do it. If you believe you can do it, you can crack it. If I could, then anyone can. So the idea is that, believe in yourself, keep dreaming, keep imagining, and I think keep doing something different. Don't My only piece of advice is that, don't be another, copy. Do something, innovative. Do something different. That's, I think, what's going to keep you moving in your life.
I think that's a like some of the best piece of advice I have ever heard, because especially like in the current stages of our life as college students, it's very structured. Like third year internship, fourth year placements, then after like promotion, like everything is very structured, like entirely to our entire corporate journey. And obviously that comes with its own set of pressure, and no system is perfect for a large group of individuals, let alone so many. Uh, like, so this is one of the best episodes of Pass the Mic we have ever hosted on ICEEE. And like myself and like everyone in the team, we would like really like to like thank you for your time. And one last thing before we like let you go, obviously. And uh, how did you find your like co-founders in college itself? Like that's the big thing. People struggle a lot to find co-founders. I think you would say you were lucky in that sort. Like you found them in college as your friend because there is nothing better. Like I have also like you have three co-founders if I'm not wrong. I have also two very good friends in my own life in college, and I would like nothing more to like go on a journey with them. Any journey, be a trip, a corporate journey, anything. But that's just experienceable because they're your friends first. You know they have your back and the thinking, the way you can communicate with each other is wonderful. So how did you do that? Just tell us the
So,
story.
so Ankit and I go back from school. We actually know each other from almost nursery days and then college as well. Oshik was, in fact, in my department in college. We both were in electronics. Uh, I don't think we ever knew we were going to do a company together when we were first year or second year. So it's not like we searched for co-founders. I think the idea was that we were friends and we used to work together. We used to be part of college societies. We used to run college activities. We used to do a bunch of things together. And coincidentally, when we started working on a problem statement as a part of a project, we started working together because it was when I got this opportunity, I called two of my closest friends to say, let's do something about it. Um, were they the most tech savvy friends I had? No. Were they the most genius friends I have? No. Were they the most you know talented friends I had? No, none of us were. We were all three of us were extremely average. We were not talented in or specialized or anything. We were just people who were driven by one goal, which was problem solving, and we were driven by one determination and courage that we would be at it. Even till today, it's not like we agree on things. Just because they are my friends doesn't mean what I say is what they agree. One of my early advisors told me this when I was starting up. He told me that why you guys are gonna be successful because two of you constantly will challenge the third one, and in a discussion, and the third person will always have to prove to the other two before you actually come out with an agreement on a matter, and that helps you actually think through the obstacles. So I think it's just not about friendship; it's also having that transparency and openness to question it, to discuss it, to debate it. It should not be, you should not take it to your ego or your attitude that why am I getting. You have to logically argue and have to win out of it. So I think our goal was the three of us will agree on something, and three of us had that courage to dream together. Because three of us took that plunge. We didn't have any stability for the first 2 years. We had that plunge. So I think the idea was that and even today, we I have seen situations in my company where my funding is getting over almost, and I have a 40. Back then, it was 1.5 years back. I would have employees in my organization. I would walk into my office trying far, fighting hard, and I know because the market was down, funding crisis was happening, and cash was limited in the bank. So crisis will happen every day, right? As friends, you have to keep on smiling. As co-founders, you have to keep on smiling and be at that war and be fighting it. So I think the idea about co-founders is that it's almost like marriage. You are you're so we three are co-founders first, friends second, because I think co-founder is a very important relation. But one thing that we all agreed on always was that whatever happens when we started, whatever happens, at one point, at all points in our life, we should be back at the table and be able to have a coffee together. That was the basic principle for us. So I don't think you can really find co-founders. It'll happen to you. Things are natural. Things are together. If you and like just co-founders, even my first set of 10, 15 members in my team, you know um, they are with me for the last 4 years, and I have had almost zero attrition in my core team that was there from initial days. And today my organization has grown to 75, 80 people, but the core team is in place, and that the only reason behind that is because they also are seeing the same dream as we are. So the idea of finding co-founders is have people with the same dream, the same thought process. Your arguments, your opinions will be different, and that's beautiful.
Thank you so much, and thank you like for providing this some like as you said method in the madness in this like whole spectrum of entrepreneurship. with all these ideas, with all these thoughts, and everything that's going at all of one, problems mounting, but still like showing the grit and determination that Jadavpur obviously teaches us to like just stay in our place, fight for ourselves, and like find out. And this life flow. This was like flow. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. We would like to have you over again, like in a couple of seasons, obviously. And yeah, that would be all for today.
Thank you so
I
much.
think,
Lovely speaking
yeah,
to you.
yeah. Good night.